r/creepypasta. Posted by you/horrible26. I work at the worst carnival ever, I'd quit but nobody can leave. Part 1. Damn, I really can't believe this place finally has Wi-Fi. Never thought I'd be so happy to hear keyboards clicking, quite a refreshing sound, from the constant circus music now beaten into my eardrums. Ah shit, I'm going off on a tangent, aren't I? Okay, so, my name's Toby, I'm 19, oh yeah, most important, I have been stuck in a carnival for 3 fucking years. Not just stuck here either, nah, my lucky ass was given the honor of being on staff, and let me tell you, for a $7 an hour, this place is just extremely, well, extremely fucked, to be blunt. For the first time in years I have contact with the outside world, and I'll be damned if I pass up the opportunity to share my experiences here. If you're wondering why I'm coming to Reddit and not like family or cops, well, for the former, I don't have one, at least one I can remember. None of us do. Everything from a personalized lives have been completely wiped. And for the latter, I mean, come on. What am I gonna say? Hey, a bunch of people are stuck in a carnival with zombies. I'll get to that in a weird as shit, ringmaster. Oh, and do I have much to say about Mr. Marlsnatch, but I feel I should explain the going-ons of this place and all strange sights, before I get to the big cheese. Wow, did I really just write the phrase big cheese? Never doing that again. Alright, anyways, I should probably start with the previously mentioned zombies. We on staff are required to refer to them as patrons, but they are textbook zombies alone from the fact they don't eat humans. Just empty husks of people roaming around mindlessly playing whatever game, booth, or ride they come across. They never speak, and they all vary in terms of conditions. Some looking completely normal, as if they just entered. The only noticeable difference between them and us would be they don't wear our uniforms. On the other end of the spectrum we have our VIP guests, meaning corpses who've been here the longest. The strangest part is, despite the obvious rot, some missing limbs due to decay over time, some had been gutted, they don't smell bad, they don't smell like anything actually, which is a huge plus considering there's hundreds of the fuckers roaming the place. Speaking of the place itself, it's pretty damn big, according to Marlsnatch, big enough to make up a small state. Almost any carnival ride or game you could think of, we got it in aces and spades, all being functional, for the most part. Alright, to be honest, 80% of them should be classified as death traps, another 10% is just busted. These rides perfectly complement the whole horror movie film set vibe we got going. But you know, hey, we do have that 10% of somewhat functioning rides or games. The best thing in the park by far is a surprisingly large amount of the arcade cabinets in one of the bigger tents. They run perfect, and one of the very few things to entertain us workers. It's ironic really, we're in a giant carnival filled with zombies and somehow we still somehow get less joy than the corpses. They're all knockoffs of classics. You had your Pony Ape, Super Guy, Ultimate Marco, Sibling Road Battling, and the ever so classic Fighting Frogs. The gameplay isn't the best, most of them kinda sucks balls, but it works, and in a place like this I will take whatever I can get my hands on, such as this computer, which brings me to the man who gave it to me, and gifted me a job. The one and only Mr. Marlsnatch. To say he looks strange would be an understatement of the century. Physically he's abnormally tall, 7 feet to be exact. His arms are long, reach to his knees. He dons a classic ringleader attire, a new color for each day. He has the face of what I can only describe as a living nutcracker. The strangest thing, at least to me, is the way the man moves. It's as if he has no bones, or like he's made of rubber. Everywhere he goes it looks like a 40s cartoon. He is also painfully upbeat, or should I say unnervingly upbeat. Yeah, I'm gonna be real, the guy gives me the fucking creeps. He isn't a bad guy, or doesn't seem crazy in the head, it's just the way he moves looks so inhumane. The one thing that's truly enjoyable are my other co-workers, some of them anyway. There's 17 of us on staff, not including myself. We have your concession and game stand operators. This consisted of Benny, a quiet middle-aged dude, but seems alright enough. You have Sean, the goofy funny one. Personally ain't too much a fan of his shtick, but it don't bother me all that much. Ted and Carmen are the resident stoner brothers about 5 years above my age, who recently I've been spending a bit more time with. Hey, judge all you want, but when the past 3 years of your life has been spent in this Silent Hill looking ass place, you'd be tempted to listen to them talk about Purple Haze and Blue Dream. Now that I think about it, I have no clue how they're managing to grow it. I dunno, Marlsnatch let them use a private tent for it, so maybe he gives them the seeds. Hey, who knows, maybe they're his dealer. Ah shit, going on another tangent. Anyways, closing it off is Jerry, Carrie, and Barry. A group of triplets a little younger than me, and a solid 2/3 of them are unbearable almost to an enraging point. It's as if God took out a syringe filled with the douchest personality traits of all time and injected it right into their brains. I assume Terry is with them strictly to balance out the scales, cause that kid has a soul purer than mountain spring water, and a mind cleaner than Clorox. Next we had maintenance, people taking care of the things that are still operational. In this field you have Ken, an old Vietnam vet that can recite any historical American document off the top of his head. A great dude, but if he's in a bad mood you aren't getting me anywhere near him even if you strapped me up in a bombing suit. He's one of the few people around here I genuinely feel an attachment to. He's kinda like a wise mentor to our little group, seeing as he's been here over a decade. This group also included another member of the maintenance, Kelly. A short bubbly girl same age as me. Always dyeing her hair a bright color every few weeks, claiming every time it's because if we're gonna be living in a carnival, might as well fit the part. Someone I've also grown rather attached to for different reasons. It's funny, honestly, we are surrounded by a lot of freaky shit, myself on an even higher degree, and the only thing I'm scared of is rejection. You have Clint, a mechanic and one of the few competent people here, and can fix about anything. He's also kind of a dick. Rounding out your group of handyman and woman we have Kurt, he's Kurt. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, I know nothing about Kurt, nobody does actually. Shit, Marl Snatch doesn't even know, only calling him quite an interesting one and not in some sly wink wink nudge nudge kinda way. Nah, he sounds legitimately as stumped as us. Kurt doesn't talk, you barely see him, and when you do he's kinda just there, watching. Hell, even his age is a mystery. He looks like he could be even younger than me, yet also looks like someone I'd get told to help cross the street. He is however predictable, very, very predictable, to the point some of us are convinced he's actually a customer who gained just enough sentience to do functional tasks. We've learned there are exactly 3 series of events that allow us to interact with him, 3 painfully specific situations. Number 1, if Kurt is in the cafeteria, sitting in the middle seat of right corner table, eating a ham, cheese and lettuce sandwich on white bread with cut crust, anytime after the sun has set, Kurt will pull out a piece of paper with large hashtags and suggests to play a few games of tic-tac-toe. You can play 5 rounds with him. You will always play a circle, and no matter what you will only win the second round. If the sandwich he's eating is missing even one of those named ingredients, he won't play. If he's sat even one table or seat than corner and middle chair, he won't play. And if the sun is even the least bit visible, say it with me now, he won't play. Number 2, if Kurt is working on the medieval knight-themed water gun game, using a monkey wrench, 3 hammers, specifically red and white handle hammers, and a blowtorch. At any time between 3:27 p.m. and 3:57, you'll be able to ask a few questions. These questions must be simple yes or no questions. If you ask anything too personal, and trust me, we've all tried, he'll refuse to answer until you move on to simple questions. You'll be able to ask 9 questions. The very moment he answers questions 9, he will return to work and ignore you completely. Don't follow the specific rules, it won't work, you get the gist of it. Number 3, and my favorite, if you are to find Kurt in the Northern Office Lounge, ordering a Diet Cherry Coke from the second to last left vending machine, using exactly 2 quarters, 3 dimes, 2 nickels and 10 pennies, you could go on a ride with him. The rides aren't too specific, with only one rule. No water rides, never the water rides. Suggesting 1 will cause Kurt to go into a brief panic and aggressively shake his head no. Suggesting 2 in a row will cause him to silently freak out before running out of the tent. We assume he just has a phobia of water. Getting him on a ride, however, is something different, as Kurt will show legitimate emotions of joy. He's usually blank-faced smiling the whole way through. Some rides we've even gotten him to cheer out. Wow, I spent a lot of time talking about Kurt, but hey, there's just too much about him not to talk about. So I'll just cut out the other jobs, cause honestly I've went over everyone I see regularly. Which leads me to Teak. Teak and I are the wranglers. Taking care of the petting zoo and Mr. Marl Snatch's show of curiosity, a freak show consisting very little of humans, but that's a par for the course here. This job has gotten us into multiple, undesirable situations, plenty of which nearly ended in rather gruesome ways. These vary but are not limited to almost being eaten alive, nearly being vaporized, nearly drowned by a siren, buried alive in oversized jello cubes, stabbed with an spear-sized candy cane over a game of chess, nearly hanged by giant licorice ropes. If you picked up on the whole candy subgenre, yeah, there's a reason getting into fist fights with living stick figures, being trapped in video game in a turn-based RPG, which isn't as fun as you think I'd be, and temporarily getting trapped in the 1920s, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Teak is the final member of our group, along with being my best friend. Now how to describe him? Oh alright, so take Shaggy, Mix it with a young Tommy Chung and you got teaked out. I met him while stopping at Ted and Carmen's booth. Yeah, big shocker, that's the place I met him. At first I couldn't stand him. Always asking irrelevant questions at the strangest times, along with the fact he had absolutely no filter, that or not enough common sense to know what a filter is. Once I found out Marl Snatch had been assigning him to wrangling duty with me, asking me to train him. I debated taking Marl Snatch's rubber hosing ass and touring it a scarf, but goddamn it, if Deke isn't the nicest dude alive, it's hard for him not to rub off on you. Now let me use my physic ability to answer some questions some of you might be having. If you're wondering why we can't leave, the answer is pretty simple. The whole place is sealed in under a giant tent made out some kind of metal with a healing factor that can make Deadpool look like a bitch, almost like it fixes it faster than you can make it. Alright, maybe it's not exactly simple but should be relatively easy to understand. If maybe you're wondering how a place this big with hordes of not so lively customers is run by 18 people along with Marl Snatch. That would be because only one section of the park is open per month, the others sinking underground and being covered till it was their time for opening. Don't get me wrong though, it's still quite the task. To any questions referring to Marl Snatch, all answers would be I have no clue. That man is more a mystery than even Kurt, who I went on quite a ramble of. Speaking of that cartoon of a man, guess me and Teak are needed. Seems one his curiosities got out of their pen, so I'll let you know how that goes, along with the rest of the animals here, when I get back, you know, if I don't die. Hope you got a kick reading about my strange life as employee at the weirdest possible carnival to ever exist.